You've requested her, and I am definitely delivering. Amy Winehouse, pop diva. Amy Winehouse. She's up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back over here to my channel, Pepe's Point of View, and I am your R&B historian. I'm your host, Pepe. And well, you requested her, Amy Winehouse, and I'm delivering. Thank you for suggesting her. Boss does God's work. I think that's you. You're also a subscriber, and I appreciate that. I do. So I want to welcome you new viewers, you returning viewers, and you subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really and truly do mean that. Whew. Now, I was saying get Amy on the phone because she's my guest today, but, well, can't do that. She's no longer with us. However, you can call up the producers. Call up the producers. That's what we're going to do. Call up the producers. Is it Commissioner Gordon, right? And all the rest of them over there. You know, call them up and let them know we're talking about Amy Winehouse. Woo, child. Anyway, let's just dive right into it. Now, if you are my day one, if you are, oh Lord, hold on, you guys. If you are my day one, okay, you've been here since day one, then you would know a tidbit about me. And that is, I stopped listening to music as far as on the radio. I stopped in 1997. I was done. Okay. In 1997. As a matter of fact, I remember the records I purchased. It was Patti LaBelle's Flame, the Isley Brothers' Mission to Please, and En Vogue's EV3. I was done. And I'll tell you why. Well, just think about those artists right there that I mentioned. It seems as if they were being pushed to the side, so to speak. And I know you guys are probably going to say, oh, but they wasn't pushing the Isley Brothers to the side. Well, that's because, well, you know, hey, give or take a few artists, right? But the sound, music was changing. The direction of music was changing. So much was going on. And the artists that I listened to, my R&B divas, let's just say, like the Tina Marie's, the Stephanie Mills, the Angela Winbush, Melissa Morgan's, Mickey Howard's, so on and so forth, and Vesta Williams, and so on and so forth, Phil Perry, Freddie Jackson. Do you understand where I'm going? These artists, as I said, they were being pushed to the side, okay, on top of the music industry changing. And it was hard to find artists that were in their category, even new artists. And I just really wasn't feeling radio either. So I just, you know, I had quite a substantial music collection. And so I was very much, you know, okay and pleased with listening to my music. I was. And then it seems as if those artists that I was mentioning, if they did come out with a new record, it would be an LP of remakes, right? And some of them were good, some of them was not so good, but that's how you would hear new material from them. You would hear new material that was old material, okay? And greatest hits and so on and so forth. What, you say, does that have to do with the diva that I'm speaking about today, Amy Winehouse? Well, I will tell you. Because I stopped listening to the radio in 1997 and wasn't watching videos and anything like that, I would hear new music because I'm going around my nieces and nephews, my siblings, other relatives, going places, of course. And I would hear these songs, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I like that." And people, and 9 times out of 10, I probably wouldn't even ask who the artist was. I would just be like, "Oh, okay, new artist, okay." And when it comes to, ooh, I'm sorry, Amy Winehouse over here, I knew of her, but I knew of her from I guess you would call it now, a social media presence. Like I just figured she was maybe like this actress or this Hollywood um, uh, famous person who was just famous for being famous. We have those now. People just famous. Like, what do you do? Oh, well, everybody knows my name, right? Okay, and that's how I figured. You know, Amy Winehouse. She was just a socialite, if you will. I think I probably recall her being an artist, but I don't recall that. As a matter of fact, listening to her debut album, Frank, I don't even recall any of those songs. I've never heard any of the songs on this album that I'm about to review. Whew. And so there you have it. So I thank you guys out there for recommending me to listen to newer artists simply because I just wouldn't listen to them. And it's not that I'm saying that they're not good. It's just, yeah, that's me. So what can I say about Amy Winehouse? Well, as I said before, get the producers on the phone uh, on this album, who produced on this album. As I said, Commissioner Gordon, Jimmy Hogarth, Salim Remy, Matt Rowe, and of course, Amy Winehouse did some production on this album. That I must say, I really and truly like. I do. Now, any other time, I probably would say that I would call an artist a pop diva or an R&B diva. I'm going to call her a pop diva just because I guess pop, popular, crossover, so on and so forth. I'm going to say she, is the epitome of that, right? However, listening to the album for the first time, I hear jazz, R&B, hip hop, soul, all of these elements in her music. So it's hard for me to put her in a category. So I would say, this is what I'm going to say. I say she's a pop diva, but her style of music, she has an eclectic hodgepodge, mixture of sound that she kind of goes in and out of. Okay. Now, let's just get into this review because I think you guys are going to like this review. Whew. Listen to this album for the first time. I'm going to tell you where my mind was in the beginning, as I told you guys about this social light. That's who I thought she was. She was just, just in Hollywood. So I didn't know what to expect. Then I find her music. I hit the play button. In the first 23 seconds, I'm like, OMG. The intro, you guys, the intro alone, I was like, okay, what is happening here? And that first 23 minutes, excuse me, seconds, I got to wake up, you guys. I'm still a little tired. That first 23 seconds, I was like, okay, what's this, Amy? I like this. And whimsical. She's not taking herself seriously, but she's being serious. With her scatting. Scatting, the jazz element that is obviously what this intro is all about, and that's exactly what I was thinking. What was about to happen, not knowing anything about her. I was just like, okay, let me get me some wine. I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to enjoy, what I'm about to hear. Then it starts to fade, right? I don't want it to end. And that's another thing, with this intro, this 23-second intro, I would have liked to hear it be an entire song, just to see where she would go with this, and she could definitely, in my case, with the 23 seconds, I know you're probably thinking like, really, seriously? No, I would have at least liked to hear a 2-minute track of her just, doing what she's doing. Like, you don't even have to have any lyrics at all. I could just see her doing that. Oh, in my mind, I never know where I'm going over here. Like, say, for instance, back in the day, we would love one of those extended instrumentations of an Anita Baker album, like Fairy Tales, the way she ends Fairy Tale on the Compositions album, the way that she ends Lonely on the Compositions album. Also, too, Body and Soul on the Rhythm of Love album. Anita Baker, like the way she ends Body and Soul, like I could literally get Amy Winehouse doing something like that with this 23-second introduction. So I found myself, honestly, stopping and playing it over again before I heard the actual track, because I wanted to get a feel of what she was trying to accomplish, what the producer really was trying to accomplish within those 23 seconds. So my first question would be, I got to think now, who produced that song? Who produced the intro? Commissioner Gordon, of course. So I would have to ask him and Salam Remy. I would have to ask them, like, what were you guys thinking with that 23-second intro? What were you trying to accomplish? Like, were you really just, like, who thought of that? Like, all right, Amy, just do a little bit of, scat down, do like a little shaboing, boing, 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 Oh, see, I never know where I'm going. When I did that, I thought about Tommy Davidson. Tommy Davidson on, oh gosh, slow down. See, that's what happens. I get to moving, you guys, and I get to thinking faster than I can talk. In Living Color. Tommy Davis, in Living Color, no, it wasn't In Living Color. It was the Martin Lawrence show, right? The Martin Lawrence show, when he showed up, he was being a jazz singer. He was scatting, And so anyway, I don't know why I was thinking about that and correlating the two, but anyway, so that's what I would ask Commissioner Gordon, like, who came up with that 23-second, and why didn't you guys extend it? I love it. It was great. It's really, 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 really good of you guys to do that. Oh, Lord. And it made me think of The Color Purple. Suge Avery, when she is in the juke joint and she's singing, Sister. I don't know why I went back to The Color Purple. That was the first thing I thought of, The Color Purple. And of course, as usual, when I'm liking a good intro song, it never fails. I'm always saying, I want more, I want more. I'm thinking about also to Jill Scott. Jill Scott album, it's over here somewhere, the live album, when she does the intro. Go back and listen to the intro of Jill Scott's live album. Is it the first song on it? Is it Getting in the Way? Well, that intro, I'm saying to myself, like, this should have been a song, Jill. It really should have been a song, that intro. I love the intro. All right, moving right along. So that's what I was thinking about, jazz, so on and so forth, the intro, liking the intro, so on and so forth. And as I said, I don't know if she's trying to be, well, I think she's being silly and serious at the same time, Amy, with the way she's scatting and so on and so forth. Then the song starts to play. I was like, oh. So it changes up for me. And I don't know if I like the change. I don't know. I like the song Stronger Than Me. Love the song. But I'm like, okay, you kind of playing with us. You're playing with my emotions, with this song. And it that could be a good Yeah, that's probably good. It leaves me wanting more. It makes me want to crave more of Amy Winehouse. Like, okay, I got this jazz intro. Now you're going into this R&B kind of hip hop, funk kind of sound that I'm liking, and obviously this is good and top notch as well. And I'm really digging it. I'm liking it. And then she starts to sing. I've heard this before. This is what I'm saying in my mind. And you have to keep in mind too, and something that I had to remind myself as well. Listening to this album in 2024, I'm saying when I say I've heard this before, you have to keep in mind now I have to stop and ask myself which one, who came first, all right? But I'm hearing Mary J. Blige of vocal, well, production style. But when it comes to vocals, I'm comparing her now to the likes of Adele. I'm like, okay, this is straight up Adele. This is who this is, Adele. But then I listen to her more and I'm saying, no, I'm getting hearing her vocals. I'm hearing the sound of a Fantasia, Ledisi, Selena Johnson, Lily James, as I said, Jill Scott, Jaguar Wright. Not so much Mary J. Blige. I kind of get a Mary J. Blige from a production standpoint, but not a vocal standpoint. But now I want somebody to explain to me what is that vocal style, if you will, that Fantasia has, that Ledisi has. Like, what is that style? How would you classify that? Because Amy Winehouse has that same vocal style, and I don't know what it is. I have to look it up and see what that vocal style is. But not a lot of R&B divas sound like that. I wouldn't give it a Shaka Khan sound. No, I wouldn't say Shaka Khan. No, but definitely a Fantasia. I started hearing this vocal sound when Fantasia came out. Wouldn't you guys agree? When Fantasia came out, now all of a sudden we hear people, R&B divas, now trying to sound like Fantasia. I don't know, just me. It's what it is. Moving right along. Um, then we get to the second song, You Send Me Flying. I'm getting the like this song I would play like on a night out on the town. Like I'm either getting dressed, I'm driving, but it's a night out on the town kind of song that I like. I really like this song. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about, is it Boss Does God's Work? I'm thinking about what she's mentioned. She mentioned the R&B diva herself. She said Tina Marie. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do I hear Tina Marie here? And I could definitely hear Tina Marie singing this song. I can. There's another thing that I'm noticing about this song as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's why I need the producers in here. The sound, the production sound of this album, it seems like it goes like you hear the piano is the lead, and then all of a sudden the drums becomes the lead to this track, and it seems like it goes in and out. 1 minute you hear the piano as the lead, the drums is in the background, then you hear the drums in the forefront or the lead, and then the piano in the background. And I don't know, I kind of like that play, if that's what it is that's actually happening. I really and truly love that play, how they the producers goes in and out with which instrument is actually leading the track. I love that a lot as well. Like I said, some good production work on for these producers over here. I love, like I said, how it keeps flipping, um, and I like that. But now here is where I am having some difficulty with Amy Winehouse. Just me. So far, with just these two songs, the lyrical content I love, the production I love. being that I mentioned these previous divas like Selena Johnson, Leela James, Fantasia, so on and so forth, Adele, now I'm ready to experience the voice that is Amy Winehouse. I'm looking for it. I want it. And if you followed me for a while, then you know I love my octaves. I love them. I do. Come on. I need that note. Me. I need to hear. I need you to soar into the stratosphere. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting, okay, for that to happen. Then I get to the third track. If I listen to the album in its order, the third track, now, Know You Now. And I love the introduction again. I love it. To me, it's that the Temptations, the Papa was a Rolling Stone. I love it. It's upbeat. It makes me want to move and groove. It's a familiar sound that I've heard before, and I'm loving it. Again, I like the production. I like the lyrics throughout the entire album. And then I was like, Natalie Cole. I'm saying to myself, like, this is this Natalie Cole? Maybe, perhaps. And then, as usual, a track that I like, as I told you before, I like this track. And then it ends quickly for me. Like it's not a long song at all on this album. And so I'm saying to myself, like, come on, like you could have gave me another minute, just another minute of this song. But they didn't, and the song ended just when I was really getting into my groove with this song. And so I was like, oh well, you know, keep moving, and keep moving is what we're doing. Now, when we get to the song Pumps, once again, love the lyrical content. And I'm saying to myself, like, Amy, you stepped on a lot of toes with this one. You know what I'm saying? I love the song Pumps. It makes me think it's we say no tea, no shade, but I'm thinking about like the housewives of anything. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the housewives of anything. I'm thinking about female reality TV stars anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about Instagram models, you know. This song is your anthem, right? I mean, you could call it a diss, and then you can change it, and you can make this song like your anthem too. But either way, I'm saying to myself, like, if she didn't step on a lot of toes with this song, you know, yeah. Oh gosh, but anyway, loved it. Great song. I thoroughly enjoyed Pumps. But yeah, you housewives, this is your anthem. It really is. Now we're about to go into track 5. In track 5, I heard Love is Blind. Again, I'm getting this Natalie Cole vibe from her, but I'm getting Natalie Cole in the 70s, not Natalie Cole of the 80s, not Natalie Cole of the 90s, and so on and so forth, but Natalie Cole of the 70s is what I am getting, right? And for me, I think that this is pretty much the R&B diva I think I can safely say I can compare her to as far as her music is concerned. But I'm still with Boss Does God's Work when she says Tina Marie. Tina Marie would definitely eat up a lot of songs on this album. But again, the reason why I'm not saying she's Tina Marie is because she's not soaring throughout some of these tracks. And I definitely do think she has the vocal ability to do this with ease. She just isn't doing it, you know, and I don't know why. Whoo, child. And so that's where we are with Amy Winehouse. You know, we're in and we're out of different genres of music, and I love it. Uh, like I said, when I think about the song "You Send Me," is that the song I mentioned? You send me, you sent me flying. When I think about that song, in a way, I said that the piano is the lead, then you have the drums that's in the background, and then they're changed. or they're flipped or whatever. Now, what I'm getting with the overall album, now we're talking about the overall album and how do I see the whole overall album. From a production standpoint, you guys are on it. Like you're on it. It's too polished. It almost makes me feel like the Mary J. Blige album, My Life. You know how I feel about that album. It's a great album. I love My Life by Mary J. Blige. However, it is overly sampled, but it's so good. But it's overly sampled, but it's so good. I feel the same way about this Amy Winehouse album, Frank. It is, the production is just top notch good. And I'm saying, it's too produced. It makes me think of Mary J. Blige's albums after My Life. Maybe starting from the breakthrough onward. It's like they're just too produced. You know what I mean? Like, this is top-notch production skills, right? I mean, you know, and then I thought about it too when I saw the name Commissioner Gordon. I was like, wait a minute. Didn't Lauryn Hill producers or musicians sue her? So, you know, I looked, I was like, wait a minute, hold on for a second. Let me find out. Because this album is almost too much like Lauryn Hill a little bit. And so, of course, I looked, and I'm going to assume that the guys that worked on this album are not the musicians. That's what I'm going to assume, that sued Lauryn Hill for not receiving production credit, okay, on the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill's album. And I can see similarities in these two albums. I hear a familiar sound with these albums. Oh, that's it. Lauryn Hill's album has flaws. What I mean by flaws, it has rough edges, but it's okay, right? And I don't get this with Amy Winehouse's Frank album. I just don't get it. Like, it's too produced, it's too polished. Everything sounds great. Everything's wonderful. Like that, as a matter of fact, except for the song Maybe Help Yourself, I'm thinking in my head, I'm saying, like, are there any fillers on this album? And then when I think about if there are any fillers on this album, sometimes for a person such as myself, I understand when it comes to albums, you have a particular sound that, or a style of music that you want to, you know, dibble and dabble in. Let's just say, oh, well, I wanted to incorporate jazz in this album. And so the album has more of a jazz element to it than anything, right? Or you just want to go old school traditional R&B. And so you know that that's what's going to be the essence of the album. But there's no, I put it this way, there's no high or low points when it comes to this album by Amy Winehouse. Everything is pretty much even Steven. And I found myself, after liking the album, I'm just like, okay, it's good. I've heard it before. Okay, that's switching up the different elements of music here. By the way, you know, sometimes I'm like, what would make a producer put this particular, like, say, for instance, oh, I can't think of the song right now. But like, say, for instance, you'll go from jazz and then the next bar, it will be hip hop. And I'm like, it seems so oddly placed, but at the same time, it seems like it was just the right thing to do at the right time, and then switch it up again real quick for the next bar. It's like, oh, I'm loving it. I like it, but it's too much of it for me. Like, okay, I get it. I understand what you're trying to do, but it's just too much, which now in my head, I'm saying to myself, maybe that's the flaw of this album, is the fact that it's done too much. And some of the songs you can do that with the lead songs, right? The songs that you're saying these are going to be the releases. And the other songs you can do that less of, could have done less of that and made those songs like fillers. But at the end of the day, it's still a good album. You get where I'm going with it. And it just makes the album even, but kind of, well, I don't want to call it a bore, but like, okay, yeah, hurry up and get it over with type of thing. I've heard this before. Another disappointment with the album for me could be, like I said, the fact that Amy Winehouse can sing. It obviously she can, but she's not soaring throughout the track. And then there's one moment at the end of one of her songs I can't think of. It looks like she was about to go there, like towards the end, like right there at the end, maybe the last 10, 20 seconds of that song, and then she cut it out. I was like, okay, you could have did it right then and there, but she didn't do it. I was like, oh, okay. It is what it is. But overall, I would give this album a 10. I'll give it a 10. She's definitely a good artist. She is. However, there's one thing that is missing when it comes to Amy Winehouse. I know I talked about the production, but now let's talk about Amy Winehouse. You know how you can find someone who's just a good singer? Like they just sound good. Like it just doesn't matter. Like, ooh, you sound good. You just anybody, you just say, ooh, you sound good. And that's what I get from her. I just get right now that she sounds good. She's a good singer. Right. But I don't know. Haven't discovered in any of these tracks, and I'm going to listen to her second album. And now what I want from her is depth, it's passion, it's conviction. I want, the soul to come out of her in this soul music that she sings, right? Because that's what it is, R&B music, soul music, even hip hop. You should be able to feel it. And I'm just not getting that she's feeling it, when she's singing it. Oh my God, such a wonderful writer. This album is, I love how well this album is written. And I know that she co-wrote the majority, if not all the songs on the album. Great songwriter, great production. But Amy, I just need more soul out of you, sweet. I really truly do. But you're good. I have to give you that. Whoo, child. All right, is that it? I think that's it. On that note, my motto over here is simple, you guys. Hey, put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, she says, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing you guys next video. And until then, you know what you should be doing. You should be taking care of yourself and loving yourself and all that jazz. You understand what I'm saying? You should be. I hope you are. And if you're not, then maybe it's time. All right. See you next video.